Good evening. Happy to be here with you tonight. My name is Rick Boone. I'll be your teacher. You may be in this room taking real estate principles or real estate law or legal aspects of real estate. Both of those classes I'm teaching at the same time. Oh no, I'm sorry, not legal aspects. What am I saying? It's real estate practice, real estate principles or practice. Legal aspects just ended last week. So thanks for being here. I'm glad you made it tonight. I appreciate you taking the time. Being here this evening is going to really help set you up to succeed well in this semester. And then I am recording the session, so if you wanted to come back and review it, or if there's anybody else that missed, we'll be able to come back and check it out. So again, okay, I already see some questions popping up in the text. I appreciate that. I'll be reviewing those as I talk along the way. So tonight, my goal for you is threefold. I'm going to give you some background on me, and I apologize if you've had class with me before to be a little bit repetitive, but I always like to let students know where I came from, so you have kind of a little bit of perspective about the stories that I'm bringing to the class, the experience I'm bringing to the class, and to give you a little bit of breadth of what the industry looks like from my experience. Secondly, I want to show you in Canvas everything that is required of you in this class. Again, whether you're in principles or practice, I want you to have a very, very clear expectation of what, a very, very clear, expectation of what you have to accomplish for the class over the next 8 weeks. The third thing is I want to make sure that I'm helping you reach your goals in these classes. So maybe your goal is to get an A. I want to show you how to do that tonight. If your goal is to progress towards getting your license, I want to show you how to do that tonight. Maybe you're working full time and you've got family at home and you just want to pass the class with a C to be able to take your real estate exam. I want to show you how to do that. So I want to support you and again, very clear expectations of what you need to get done, but also to again, kind of give yourself a focus on getting your goals accomplished in these two classes. So coming up in that chat, it did say the book recommended in the syllabus. Oh, yeah, yeah. So I'm going to talk about the book tonight, which is a digital book. So don't be so concerned about the editions. I'll show you how to access that content and where to get that from. So hold on to that question. I will definitely review what books we'll be using in the class tonight. And so to start off, again, kind of that first to do for me with you tonight is to discuss a little bit of my experience. I Wow, where do I start? In 2002, I got my real estate license. My goal at that point was to learn a bit about the industry so that I could invest myself. Myself and my brother-in-law were very interested. We would have conversations at the holidays about buying investment property, apartment buildings to be able to rent and to be able to make income. And so he said, "Hey Rick, you got to go get your license." And I said, I don't have any desire to be a real estate agent." He said, "You have to learn the marketplace so that we can learn how to invest." And so I jumped in. So that was in 2002. Just like you, I took my principles and practice classes at a community college, at Orange Coast College. And 2002, yeah, no kidding, I caught the crash. Yeah, the Great Recession, right? In 2006, 7, 8. I surely did, and survived it. Definitely made a lot less money in those years. Um, but after 9 years working full time, and I started to teach part time at nights. And so I realized for me that although I still enjoy, and today still enjoy parts of real estate, that teaching for me just was so much more fulfilling. And so I decided to change gears. I went from full-time real estate into and part-time teaching into a full-time administrative job at a private university. And then after 4 years of that, came to IVC to teach full-time. And I'm in my 10th year at IVC. So it's been awesome. I can't believe it's gone by so quickly. And I'm grateful to be in this place at IVC. I have great colleagues. We have awesome support services for students. And I'm so stoked that we've built up just such a strong real estate program at the college. Overlapping that, when I was teaching at night, working in real estate during the day, I felt that I was doing business day in and day out, and I was making, some good money for a couple of those years. But I realized I didn't really know business. I'd never studied business in college and decided to go back and get my master's in business. So I did get my MBA, which was I finished that right as I left real estate and went into the administrative job at the university. And at that university, they actually had a doctoral program that I completed while I worked there. So I have a doctorate in organizational leadership as well. So teaching real estate, teaching full time was never a goal for me 20 years ago. It just so happens that some of those baby steps along the way, I, feel blessed with the opportunity to be able to do this full time and teach full time. My full time job is to help you learn. And so I want to do that for you. And I think for me, having attended a community college myself out of high school, and then as an adult learner too, I've had some of my best teachers at community college. And so that's one of the great things that we get to do at community college is that our whole job is about helping you learn. It's teaching. I don't have to publish. I don't have to have a doctorate. I don't have to write books or to research. And so I get to have fun learning about real estate myself and continue to work in that way, and again to help you learn. I haven't represented anybody for gosh, 10 or 12 years. But I do stay active. I do some consulting still in real estate. I still am very hands-on with my own properties. I have my home and I do have one rental, single family rental. And again, all of this is not to be like, oh, I'm so special and amazing. I just want you to, know where I came from. Yeah, growing up, I grew up in California. My dad was a meat cutter. And, so I didn't come from money. I'm the first person in my family to go to college. And so, I feel like, just really hard work and trying to figure things out along the way has kind of brought me to where I'm at now. Which is great. So I'm excited. I love when we get to start new real estate classes. I love seeing new students come in and to see the diversity in students. And I love that in these real estate classes, sometimes we'll have a typical college age student, maybe 18, 20-year-olds. Sometimes a high schooler will be in these classes, maybe 15, 16. And then I'll have a 70-year-old in the class too. And so it just brings so much diverse conversation and experiences. A lot of students that maybe grew up or are from other countries. And so, with a very different perspective, possibly on what real estate is and how it works. And so one of the great things coming into this real estate class from my perspective, one of the great things is that everybody's on the same playing field. Everybody's learning this stuff at the same time. Even if you grew up speaking English, the language that you're going to learn in these classes is new. There's a lot of legal language, not crazy amounts, but even the normal language that we use in the field or in the industry can be different than what you might, talk with your friends about, over dinner. And so everybody's kind of coming in, learning at the same level, this together. And so I want to be able to show you some resources in Canvas too to kind of help you ramp up and make sure that you're ready to go for the class. So that's a little bit of information on me. I'm going to just go ahead and jump into Canvas um, to give you some, I was going to say hands-on, but it's more like eyes-on perspective of what's happening in Canvas. So again, oh darn it. Here, let me switch up things here because I selected the wrong class. Give me one quick sec. All right, I'm not sure if you saw that, so sorry about that. Um, so again, you may be in real estate principles, you may be in real estate practice right now. Um, both of these classes, when you log into Canvas, they look almost identical. They are different courses, it's different content, but the scheduling and the aesthetic is super, like I try to keep things simple. I don't, I could probably do better at making it look prettier. But I want to show you exactly where everything is again, so you know exactly what's expected of you going into this class. And again, we're going to be looking at the practice class right now, real estate practice. But if you're in principles and you log into Canvas, you're going to see it looks identical to the same thing here. So we're looking at the home page right now in a student view. So this is what you'll see when you log into Canvas if you haven't done it already. One of the things I'll mention right off is under your account link right there on the left, there's a button called notifications. And if you're new to Canvas, or even if you've been in Canvas before, this is a great visit to go to the notifications tab because you're able to check when you want to get information and how. So you can click on this notifications and you get to control when you see a grade change, when you see an announcement. Is it immediately? Is it at the end of the day? Is it at the end of the week? Are you going to get an email? Are you going to get a text? You get to control all of that in the notifications tab. So when you log into the homepage, you'll see the most recent Zoom or the most recent announcement, right, which is talking about our Zoom right now. But you can always go back and refer to older announcements in this tab. Or again, if you're getting that via text or email, you can check those as well. In this section, there's two systems that we're going to be using in this class, in these two classes. One is Canvas that we're looking at right now. The other system is called GRL. It stands for Great River Learning. And I'll click on that in just a second here just to see it. But this is where the book, the content, the state approved content, the state approved, final is going to be held in. And so that's this link. Again, we'll look at that in a few minutes. You can also go and view the syllabus here, which we will also review tonight in just a little bit here. Here's some information for me. If you want to contact me, I'm available for office hours, Tuesdays 3 to 5, Wednesdays 10 to 1. These are set hours that I have to give you to access me. But I'll tell you, if you want to meet, or maybe you're not available next Tuesday at 4:30 p.m., uh, please email me. I've taken my kind of perspective on self-employment and communications kind of into the classroom. And so I often check my email. If you've emailed me, it's likely that you've gotten a response back, usually within maybe sometimes a couple minutes, maybe a couple hours. Now, of course, I get busy like everybody else, right? But if I don't reply to you in a day or two, please send me another email back. There's a chance that somehow I might have missed it or something. But I'm very active on email, so please do reach out if you have any questions along the way. And or if you can't make these times that I have set up here, send me an email and say, "Hey Rick, can you meet, Thursday at 7?" And if I'm available, I'm happy to chat with you, and we could do a Zoom session or just talk on the phone if you want. So I'm available to you both on these hours and at other times. But again, email is going to be the fastest way. Here's some technical support. Now, Canvas is an IVC college system. If you have tech support needs in Canvas, there's tech support at the college to help with that. This GRL system is basically like a virtual textbook, tech company. And so they have their own tech support, which is listed here. So here's some information. If you ever have a hard time or something's not working, one of the great things about this system is that you can access it from any smart device. So whether on your desktop, laptop, tablet, your smartphone, you can access the book and read and take the quizzes and all of that on your phone or on your device. Canvas, should be accessible that way for you as well. I do have, I wouldn't want to do it personally, but I do have students, I feel like almost every semester that take the whole class on their phone. There's a lot of zooming and scrolling, but it's possible. So we've worked hard in the department to really supply you with information that's accessible that you can access with whatever technology you already have. Here is a quick overview of our assignments for the class. Now, this may look overwhelming to you because you're seeing basically every assignment for the class all in one shot. So, but hopefully what you're seeing here, not just as a list of assignments, but everything is built into this Canvas shell. It's already set up and ready to go. So it's all here for you. And I spend a lot of time up front in my classes to make sure that they're structured properly. And so I'm not perfect, right? There's mistakes that happen, but for the most part, we shouldn't have any big changes in the class. This schedule is pretty rigid in that way, and we should have no issues in that way. We'll look at this list of assignments in a different way coming up in just a second. But I did want to invite any questions. Again, if you have questions, please feel free to type that out in the chat. Can I share the room number on the campus? Oh, yeah, yeah, my office room. I'll show that to you just a moment on the syllabus. I have that printed on the syllabus. That's a great question. I don't have it on there. Thank you. So here's this big list of assignments for the whole 8 weeks together. We're only together for 8 weeks. It goes by pretty quickly. All right. As a student, I actually prefer that kind of timing because for me, I feel like I can focus in and get, maybe fewer classes in that 8 weeks periods, but focus in and do well on two classes as opposed to, five classes over 4 months. So let's look at the next module here. My Canvas shell, I told you it's kind of simple. It looks basic, right? I don't want you to look at this and go, oh, that's easy. But it is simple on purpose. And so you'll see here just a couple of links, right? Our home page, which we just reviewed, the announcements page, which again, you can come back and revisit any announcements that I've sent out to you for the class. This is where the meat of our class is. It's in this modules tab. And then, of course, you can review your grades at any point in time. We'll talk more about grades and points and stuff in just a little bit too. So here's again the kind of the meat to the class. Here's every assignment for the whole 8 weeks, but it's broken up into weeks. And so hopefully this will be a good place for you to come and visit and kind of make sure you're checking off all of your responsibilities for the week. You'll see I've added a student orientation. I put this in all of my classes. This orientation I developed a year or so, 2 years ago. And because I found that some students are coming into real estate and maybe they're in Canvas all day, every day because they're a full-time student. I have other students that I mentioned might be 70 years old and have never taken an online class before, and the word Canvas means, something that you paint on. And so I wanted to be able to develop an orientation that puts everybody in the same place at the same time. So these are all video based. All of these videos are just a couple minutes long. But it kind of reviews what's required in the program, a welcome to the college, some information, background on the Department of Real Estate, kind of reviewing some different student goals and what you might need and how we support you, how we help you within the program and how we help you within the college. Some intro into Canvas itself, right? If you've never used Canvas before, please go through some of these videos. Great River Learning. Again, the publisher website that we're going to be using. Here's an overview of how that works. Some tips for success in online learning. Be honest, our dishonesty policy. And then there are sometimes through the state scholarships available for students. Excuse me. Here is our, not the right syllabus though. That you shouldn't be able to see that right now. I'll update that. Well, it's on your homepage. You don't need this link here. Sorry. So you'll see in this orientation, this orientation is meant to ramp you up and have you be ready to go for this class. I do have a quiz on this information. I do give you points for this quiz to make sure that you're ready to go and you know what you're doing. This video I will upload into this module as well. But take this orientation this week. I have it due on the 27th for Thursday because kind of as a motivation to get in there and get moving. I might move that out to Sunday for you, but it will help if you can get in there. You can take this quiz multiple times to score the highest points. So if you want to get an A, you're going to take this quiz a couple times, get full points. It's not hard. It's just a review of this information just to make sure that you read it. Here's our week one work. We are in week one right now. And you'll see some consistency here as we look at the couple different, I'll just look at a couple weeks, these first couple weeks. So do please access GRL login this week. Again, I'll click on this link and we'll check it out so you know what to look for. There's a discussion board. This is due tomorrow night. And every week, except for the last week, we have a discussion board that is due on Thursday. That's your initial post is due on Thursday. In addition to you forming an opinion about this discussion board prompt, typing in a response by Thursday, you'll then reply to two different peers in the classroom by Sunday. And so just to give you an idea, these discussion boards, they're not hard. They're not meant to be hard. What I do is I give you a prompt, and there's no right or wrong answer. What I ask you to do is to form an opinion about that prompt and to explain why. So really what I'm looking for in your discussion boards is the why. I would do this because, and then you're going to explain your because. So it really is kind of more of a qualitative. If you and I were sitting in the classroom with all the other students and we're having a conversation, if you just say, I want to do that. Good job. Nice work. Like that's not conversation, right? Those are just statements. And so really this discussion board is meant to kind of replicate that conversation that we would have in the classroom. So although I do look for quality in your responses, your why, I have some guide for quantity as well. And so here's your initial post, your initial response to the discussion board, looking at 3 to 4 sentences. Again, you're going to answer somebody's question in class. 3 to 4 sentences, again, not meant to be hard, but I want you to be writing about your opinions here. And then here, this is again due by Thursday night. You'll see that note here, Thursday night. And then your 2 responses to classmates. We're looking for 2 different responses by Sunday night. And so if you have, again, quality response, 3 to 4 sentences to 2 different people, these are points that you can earn every week to help you get that A if you do want an A. So that's a real quick kind of overview of the discussion boards. Week 1 is super easy. You're just introducing yourself. I'm asking you to introduce yourself to the class, why you're here, if you have any experience, what your goals are. We're all in this together here. So let's learn a little bit about each other too. So that's our discussion board. Again, coming back to the modules tab, we are in our week 1 module. We have our GRL login. We've got discussion board 1. And then I'm having you do basically our schedule is 2 chapters a week. And so we have chapters 1 and 2 that are due this week. This is in that GRL system. Now, a lot of especially for principles and especially, well, for practice too, but especially for principles, not only are we learning all together here about this foundation of real estate, but we're learning about the pebbles inside that foundation of real estate. And so when you're reading through these chapters and you're reading through definitions and you're taking the chapter quizzes, sometimes it can feel like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get all of this stuff. You don't have to. I am not asking you to memorize this book in the next 8 weeks. I want you to review the information. I want you to prepare through these quizzes, prepare for the final exam for this class. But this one class or 2 classes is not going to teach you how to make $1 million next year in real estate. That's just not what they're for. So we're here for pre-licensure for the state exam. But what I try to give you as, Professor Rick Boone, I want to give you a little bit of that real life perspective. And that's what I do in my lecture videos. So there's no real way I can make you watch these videos. But in these videos, I talk about stuff that's in the chapters in a very real world practical way. And so if you're reading through the chapters and maybe you feel confused or you feel like it's too much information, these lecture videos are going to help you kind of swallow that information a little bit better. I don't cover everything in every chapter, but I'm talking about kind of the highlights, or I'm talking about the real life perspective of what's going on in there. So that's a typical week for our next 8 weeks. You'll see here in week 2, discussion board, do Thursday night, do Sunday night. Your 2 quizzes for the 2 chapters, lecture videos. Week 3, I give you a couple weeks to kind of ramp up here, but in week 3, I have you do an exercise. Again, these exercises are not meant to be hard. I give you very clear directions and step by step. Oh, I can't see it yet. But I give you very step-by-step directions on what to do. And, for example, here we're talking about looking at real estate practice, evaluation of a property, and prepping for a listing agreement, a listing presentation. In real estate principles, if you're in principles class, this 8 week section, there's a week 3 exercise in your class too, but it's a different topic. It's a different activity. So again, the content is different, but the scheduling is nearly identical. So that's kind of an overview again of Canvas, where to find things in Canvas. Hopefully with this simple setup, it is meant to be simple and easy for you to find, right? Easy access, simple setup. There's a lot of things to do in here, right? But hopefully you know where to find it. That's my goal for you here now. So our home, we'll come back to the home page. Let's go ahead and look at GRL. So the Great River Learning System is a kind of a learning uh, content system. So we use the books. It's the hard copy books of Dearborn Real Estate Education. They've been writing books for decades in real estate, and in my perspective, I've used a lot of different books, textbooks in real estate. Dearborn has been the most professional, and so I like their products. This Great River Learning System is the system where you're going to read that text, take the quizzes, take the final exam. Okay. I'll go ahead and sign in. You'll notice here too. Oh, here, let me go back real quick. If you're paying out of pocket for your class, like you're going to charge your credit card to buy this book, this is the fastest, cheapest way to get the content. Darn it. Here, wait, let me log out real quick. Sorry. So you can see that page. Logging in here, signing you know, your email, this is like my personal email, right? Log in with your email, sign in, buy your content. If you are buying uh, from the bookstore, if you have some sort of voucher or credit at the bookstore, they have access codes that you can buy through the bookstore, and this is where you log in. So you're still getting to this content and to this website through Canvas, but here's an access code if you buy an access code. I'll show you what that purchase process looks like here. When you click purchase, if you've never been in the system before, you're going to look for Irvine Valley College, and then you're going to look for the class that you're in, real estate principles, real estate practice, right? Click next, and then you'll select the section. So we're in this ladder section, right? We're starting this week, March. You'll see my name on there. You click on that one, click next, and then you enter your personal information here. Again, your email address, whatever email address you want, it does not have to be your college email. Go ahead and use your personal email address to log in here. This is going to be your access into this system, right? It doesn't have to be connected to IVC. You'll see this textbook, this access, online access is $56.70 is the cost there. So a little bit cheaper than if you were to buy the hard copy book. But again, you can access this content on any device. So here's where I said earlier, you don't have to be concerned with what edition you're buying, because when you go into the system, it's already uploaded, it's already in there. So this is what it likes if you're, this is what it looks like if you are buying for the first time. When you get your access, after you pay and you get that email that says, welcome to Real Estate Principles. Here's what the book will look like. And I want to show you a couple items in here. Again, clear expectations on what you need to get done. So sorry, this is my page, right? Yours doesn't look like this, but the book looks very similar. So here's what you'll see. California Real Estate Principles. This looks just like the cover of the hard copy book, by the way, but Real Estate Principles. Here's some tabs that I want you to see. Chapters and grade book. Okay, so here's the grade book where you can see your points that you're earning in each of these chapter quizzes, and then at the end, the final exam. I will take all of those points and put them into Canvas, but I don't do that till the end of the class. So if you're progressing, you're doing your reading, you're doing the chapter quizzes, and you're like, how many points did I get on that? Here's where you can go and see that information inside GRL. In the chapters, when you click on this first time, you get a chapter menu. Notice though, after you leave that first page, there's also a prompt here where you can go back and choose chapters here in the menu or here on the page. And so I'll just pick a random chapter. When you're looking at the chapter and you're reading through this material, one of the great things about this outside of the accessibility, you don't have to have a hard copy book, you can read it on your phone, is that you have this digital access. In addition to that, um, we can make the reading a little bit more interactive. So these chapters are set up on pages. You'll see here, chapter 2, page 2, right? As you read through at the bottom of this page, some pages are longer than others, you'll see the chapter 2 knowledge check. Please see this. Knowledge checks are not included in your final grade. This knowledge check are questions about the section that you just read. but you're not getting points for this knowledge check. It's just a couple questions, right? 1 to 4 questions. I am finished. It says submit for grade, but it's not points grade. I got 4 out of 4 wrong. Awesome. I'm going to return back to my chapter reading. Return to site. And here we are back on chapter 2, page 2. So again, if I scroll through this page, reading, reviewing, take my knowledge check, I'm then going to go to the next page of the chapter. See how that's a different next button. Here's chapter 2, page 3. Scroll down through the bottom, some great pictures and extra links, examples for you to learn. Here's your knowledge check, no points. Next page of the chapter. So that knowledge check is there to help you learn. Whether you use it or not, just depends on how much time you have and, how much you want to review this information. Chapter 2, page 4. So, right, hopefully you're seeing the system here. So I'm going to just scroll through really quick. Go to the next page. The system is usually pretty quick. Oh, there we go. Chapter 2, page 5, summary, end of the chapter. Look at this. Chapter 2, chapter quiz. This is the one. Unit quizzes are included in your final grade. In just a few minutes, we'll look at all of the points that you can earn for the class, but this is the chapter quiz that earns you points. Begin your attempt. It's 10 questions, multiple choice. Okay. So I really want to bring out, because almost every semester I have a student that says, I read every page of the chapter and I took every quiz. And it's like, well, you got zeros on all the quizzes. You didn't take any of the chapter quizzes, but they're thinking that the knowledge check is the chapter quiz. So hopefully you can see that difference now in this system. I'm hoping you guys can see what I'm doing right now, right? I'm not seeing my little purple outline. Can I get a thumbs up? Can you guys see what I'm showing you in Great River? Getting no thumbs ups. All right. Hopefully you're not just staring at a Canvas page right now because I just went through page by page on Great River. All right. So here's where we're at. We're back to Canvas. I'm going to go ahead and now look at the syllabus. So we've seen just a real quick overview. We've seen our home page, links to register for your reading in GRL, links for the syllabus, contact information for me. Here's the meat for the class. Every assignment that you have to accomplish is broken down into these weeks, weekly modules. You can see the date that it's due and the points that it's worth. So now let's look at the syllabus and get this information in one more form. So in the syllabus, you can go and click on that link and pull up this syllabus. Sorry, I'm in a weird view here. We're going to start on the last page here real quick. So for me as a student, this is the page I love because I can see every chapter and every assignment in one page. A little bit more organized than in Canvas. So you can see real quick, week 1, we're working on chapters 1 and 2. Here's your assignments. Chapter reading, chapter quiz, chapter reading, chapter quiz, discussion board 1. Here's week 2, chapters 3 and 4. Chapter quiz, discussion board. Here's week 3, chapter quiz, discussion board, and then here's that first exercise that pops in. So this gives you a real quick snapshot on all the assignments. Again, these are all in Canvas already, so you can see them there as well. Here's just another way for you to see the coursework. More importantly, I want to show you now an overview of the points for these different assignments. Now, here is all of the points for the class in the next 8 weeks. When I talk through this, I want you to see that you have a lot of opportunity to earn points. Most of these points, you can control how you get them. So here's what I'm saying. Chapter quizzes, there's 15 chapters. That's 10 points each, 150 points. 33% of your grade is taking chapter quizzes. These chapter quizzes in GRL that we just saw, these chapter quizzes, you can take them over and over and over again to earn the most points possible. So if your goal is to get an A in this class, this is an easy 33% of your grade. Easy. It takes time, but you have total control over this and you can do it over and over again until you get your perfect points. So that's a huge opportunity. The discussion boards. Again, these aren't hard, but it does take some time. The discussion boards, again, you're making your initial post on Thursday, responding to two students by Sunday, 10 points each. We saw the rubric. This is 15% of your grade. Again, you can control that. Exercises. This does, again, take some time, but these are different kind of projects and ways for you to, I kind of see it as getting your hands dirty with the content that we're learning. Some step-by-step projects for you to work on. These are 20 points each, 17% of your grade. All you got to do on these exercises is follow the directions, honestly. Step by step, follow the directions and the questions. The final exam, here's the one thing in this class, in whichever class you're in. The one thing in this class that you don't really have control over is this final exam, right? You can study and study and study, but when it pops up, it's going to be, a one chance experience for you, okay? This is worth 150 points, a third of your grade. But realize here, maybe you're not a great test taker. Maybe you have test anxiety, or maybe you just don't have a lot of time to study. Like that's just real life, right? But here's the deal. If you show up every week and get your work done every week, when it comes to this final exam at 30% of your grade, that final exam is not the only thing that dictates your grade. You do not have to get an A on that final exam to get an A in the class. If you're showing up and getting your stuff done every week, you can get a B or maybe even a C on that final and still get an A in the class. So there's a lot of opportunity here for you to earn points, and a lot of control that you have over earning these points. I'll make this note because I feel like every semester there's at least one student that says, I want to do pass, no pass. And you can if you really want to. But from my perspective, I've never seen this help a student. So I give you a little disclosure. These points that you will earn your grade, uh, at the end of the class, I have to give you a letter grade for these points, right? If you select pass, no pass, uh, and you get a D in this class, 60 to 69%, I have to give you a no pass because a D is not passing for IVC. If you get a D, 60 to 69%, and it's a letter grade, right? And everybody has it by default, it's a letter grade. That will be accepted by the Department of Real Estate for credit for you. So I understand maybe you don't care about grades. I understand maybe you're not transferring, you're not a full-time college student. But doing a pass, no pass has to be a very specific reason for you. I've never seen it help a student. So just please take that into account if you're going to be moving forward with that. Even if you don't care about your grade, just keep your letter grade because it can only help from my perspective. All right, there's that. Here's some quick overview of the assignments that we just discussed. The final exam, you can read more about it, what that looks like. I will give you announcements to explain more of this as we get closer. In that week 7 and 8, when we're finishing up, I give you a lot more kind of bullet points and what's going on with the final exam. But here you can read about it as well. Quizzes. Quick overview. Excuse me, it's been a long day. Quick overview on the quizzes. Um, 10 points each, right? We talked about this, the fact that you can take it over and over again to earn the highest points. The exercises, again, I explained them, but here it is for you to read about and the discussion boards. Notice I put on here, late work will not be accepted. So when we're coming through the class, and in week 1 and week 2, you have these assignments that are slated, especially the discussion boards, because the discussion boards have 45 students in that room. After Sunday, those 45 students are in a different room. If you come in late and you're like, hey, can I go do last week's discussion board? You're going to be standing in a room by yourself. It just doesn't make any sense. So I don't open up discussion boards after the fact because everybody is in a different room by then. The exercises. Again, I'm pretty strict on my no late work because these exercises, every assignment in here, you have a week to do. I'm giving you a lot of leeway, right? I'll give you a full week to get this work done. If it comes down to Sunday at 11 p.m. and you haven't done this work, that's kind of on you, right? That's not me. And so part of this is, learning some responsibility and just being a responsible student. I can say that in GRL, in the quizzes, it is great to follow our schedule and to keep tracking along week by week on those chapters. But remember, on these quizzes, you can take them over and over again to get your highest points. So there is a slight flexibility in the quizzes because I'm not taking your points for those quizzes out of GRL and into Canvas until the end of the class. Please do not get behind. We have 2 chapters a week. For students that get behind, it gets really hard to catch up. But there is some flexibility because you have multiple attempts in those quizzes. Let's keep trucking along. Late work, again, don't do it. These percentages and this language is given from the college. And so just so you can kind of see clearly, this percentage is this letter grade. This percentage is this letter grade. So at the end of this class in Canvas, there is a final score, final points column. If that final points at the end of 8 weeks says 89%, that's not me. That's your points that you earned, right? So this is the letter for that letter grade for that percentage. We do not have pluses and minuses at IVC, which makes it a little bit easier. So this is there for your reference, excuse me. Um, Here's some resources. There's this office. There is some additional language here and kind of just student resource links. If you're having any challenges with your learning, please reach out and let me know, and I can hopefully give you some suggestions or I can refer you where to go. If you don't want to message me about it, that's totally fine. I don't take that personal. Here are some links and phone numbers for you. The IVC website has a lot of those resources listed out, including resources for veteran students from the military, students that maybe don't have any food. We have a food pantry on campus. Maybe you're in an emergency type of situation. You don't have anywhere to sleep for tonight. We have resources for you for that. Maybe you're having issues with your Wi-Fi, your internet access, or your computer. There's a ton of technology we have on campus that can help you out. They've had hotspots and laptops in the past that you can borrow. IVC is an awesome campus. We have a lot of great resources. Please don't let any challenges in your life. Believe me, I understand challenges can be overwhelming. And take your focus off of learning and off of school, right? When you're worrying about where you're sleeping at night, that takes priority. But we want to be able to help you. If you can do it, we want to help you do it to continue in your classes here. Here are, again, those 2 systems that we're using in this class. Canvas. I think as of today, this link may not work. You will have to log in. It's called multi-factor authorization, but basically go to ivc.edu, at least initially, to get into your Canvas access. Here is the link for that GRL website that has the Dearborn content, our book, our virtual book that we'll be using over the next 8 weeks. I'm going to take a quick pause and answer some questions. Oh, I see some thumbs up. Oh, those are the thumbs up. I was asking if you could see the page I was on. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much for confirming that. I'm glad that wasn't just a waste of time. Will there be any extra credit? Great question. I do not give extra credit. No late work, no extra credit. And I have some reasons behind that. And we're doing okay on time. Here's what I've tried to set up. I've taught these classes for years, okay? For years. And from my learning and teaching these classes, I'm going to go back to the points. What I have learned to be the most fair and the most accessible for all students is to create a system that gives everybody the same opportunities. So I've developed this kind of diversified point structure where you have a lot of control over your points that you're earning here. And yeah, there's a final exam, but most of you are looking to get into real estate someday. There's going to be a state test that you'll have to pass. So I'm giving you a lot of control and I'm giving you a lot of flexibility in a week time, right? So if you have a bad day, you're sick for a couple days, maybe you even have a bad week and you miss a couple quizzes, you can take them again. You miss a discussion board, that's only 10 points. And that exercise, I usually open them up early. So there's actually a 2 week window to get exercises done. So I give you a lot of room to get that work done, which will require on your shoulders, will require some time management, right? This is a commitment coming to school. And so like in the real world, if you're showing up and getting your stuff done, likely you're going to be doing a decent job and you're going to keep your job. If you start showing up late every day and you're not getting your work done, maybe you lose your job, right? So I've tried to build into my classes some real life perspective in that way. There's grace in here, right? Again, you can miss a discussion board. You can miss a week of that work and still earn an A in the class, right? You can get a B on the final exam and still get an A in the class. And so I've built into the system a lot of kind of, I'll say flexibility in that way, a lot of opportunity, really. And so because of that, I take away the extra credit and the late work stuff. From my experience, again, for the most part, um, that involves me kind of handpicking who I'm going to help. And I just don't like that idea. Just like I would never like take points away from you for no reason. I don't want to give individual students more opportunities to these points than somebody else, if that makes sense. So hopefully that makes sense. I know it comes off as rigid, it comes off as maybe mean, but I'm just looking at this from the real world perspective, and I'm giving you in this system, I'm giving you a lot of opportunity to earn those points. Again, this syllabus you can come back to and refer to. Please, if work gets crazy and home gets busy and you just cannot complete this class, there are timelines, right, from the college, but I'm not going to drop you. After week one, if you're in the class, I see that you've logged into Canvas, you're taking your quiz, your orientation quiz. I will not drop you. It is on you to drop if you have to drop. Some overview of our formatting and time expectations. Here's information from the college schedule and catalog and the outcomes that you're expected to learn. We have to put this information in there. Again, we have these two systems. Here are the links again. Try to be super clear on that. Here are some of those dates I talked about. Last day to drop with a refund, last day to drop without a W, drop with a W. Please confirm these dates on my site. I just do this as a helpful gesture, but these aren't my rules or my dates. This is the college stuff. Here's my contact information. Again, my email address, my phone number. This is my campus phone number. If you want to talk, you can leave a voicemail here, but I'm not usually sitting at my desk. And so, again, the fastest way to get me is send me an email. I'm usually really quick to reply. Here, coming back to that earlier question, here is my office. I'm in the Bistic Building and Business. Upstairs in the faculty office rows, the administration up on the third floor. Those same hours that we've already talked about here, and again, by appointment, please send me that email. And if there's another time, I'm happy to meet up with you. 7:53. We still have a couple minutes. I will, in a minute or two, stop the recording and then just open it up if anybody wants to talk. But before I stop that recording, either via chat or by raising your hand, are there any questions that you have after hearing about me, seeing what your expectations are in Canvas for the class, and then also um, after me showing you kind of how to meet your goals, right? To get that A, if you want to get that A, how to do it. Any other questions? I think I hit all the questions that were in the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and stop recording now. Again, thank you for taking the time to be here in person tonight. I appreciate that. And I'll hang out still for a couple minutes here and continue to answer any questions if you have any.